and welcome to Rolf and Aggie Reviews. I'm Kobe. Right now, we're going to be reviewing a 1973 film called The Wicker Man. It's a British film, and it's a film about a police officer, so there's a legal aspect to it. It's a mystery. It's a definitely, in my opinion, got elements of an art house film. It's definitely surreal, so I would say that in surreal cinema, which I'm not an expert in, but I would say that, to me it's certainly surreal, so it should certainly be checked out by fans of surreal films. A lot of things, as I just mentioned, and there's one other important thing about this film is that its cinematography is great, really good. Again, if you checked out other videos, there's a lot of focus here in this channel about cinematography, and there is, because with these movies I'm reviewing here, cinematography is such a big important deal with these movies. It should be with any films, but I do feel like the movies I review here always are good at cinematography and are very focused on it. And if you read the books about the making of the film, or the documentaries, they all really pay attention to cinematography. So yes, let's talk about The Wicker Man, 1973. The movie is essentially a police officer searching for a missing 12-year-old girl named Rowan Atkinson. Whoa, sorry, Rowan Morrison. Rowan Atkinson is an actor, sorry, my bad. Rowan Morrison. So yes, Rowan Morrison is missing, and she's a 12-year-old girl. And there's basically a huge search for her. So there's a police officer, and he's kind of searching for her in these, I'm guessing it would be Scottish or British Isles. And he's very much, it seems like he's the solo kind of officer on the job with this case, which is a bit kind of spooky, because you'd think there'd be more, assistants or, other officers with him. Or constable, like you call them in England. And basically, he's searching for her in this, island. And he arrives at the island, and he basically is met with hostility right off the top. And he kind of frequents places where, Rowan Morrison was at, and he gets really strange response. Like, there's some people that say she was never there, or they would use words like she's no longer here, or she doesn't exist, and a lot of these people would contradict themselves, so it's just, has a suspicion of, of what's happening to, this girl, right? And the people in the town are extremely creepy. So you think, right off the bat, there's something, I would say, sinister revolving this disappearance of Rowan Morrison. It is spooky from the very beginning. I would say the opening to the film is the one part that is not spooky, because it's sort of melodies, songs, and the kind of beautiful sort of landscapes of the British Isles, the sea and the boats and the sky. So it's great there, and movie's great all the way through. But I'm just saying, it's great with the horror and how the story relates. In the beginning, it's actually peaceful. So we soon start to find out that this town is practicing some sort of pagan-type rituals, and they have interest in animals and the sun, and how the sun affects the livestock or the harvest, and people are very into this worshiping thing, and the officer seems like he's very conservative. I would say probably doesn't react well to people who are unusual and eccentric, and here is a whole town that's unusual and eccentric. So he really doesn't fit in well, and there's a sequence of events that start to happen. In this movie, what are some important things are the costumes. Costumes in this film are great. I'm not going to reveal too much about the costumes, but I'll just say that if you're very much into masks, check this movie out. I strongly suggest. The masks here, not only do they evoke the kind of feeling that the movie wants to get from the audience, but they're also an element of how good masks look, or how masks can how masks can really drive the movie. Because in this film, there's a lot of people who have masks, and I'm not gonna say what the masks are of. I'm not going to say whether they're neutral masks or like Halloween masks or hockey masks. I'm just going to say that the masks really change the feeling in a couple of scenes in the film. Many scenes, and I feel the masks, which you should watch out for, are sort of the thing that, in my opinion, makes the movie very interesting, because you start to wonder about what are these masks made from. Dun, dun, dun. And I'm not gonna say anything else. I just think you should be aware of that. Anyway, so the officer, it gets to the point where he starts finding out more about what's happening, and then we have this great twist in the film. A really good twist. I would say that the ending in this movie is, well, very, 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 very scary, disturbing. I would say it's disturbing. I actually didn't have nightmares, but I would say that even right now I'm kind of very spooked out. But, I would say it's not really even the story that made the ending spooky, but it's the acting. The acting. Okay, so I'm gonna get to the deal here. If you like films that are horror films, if you like thrillers, mysteries, if you like films that very much rely on suspense, and with that being said, suspense, layers of suspense, effective soundtracks, diverse use of colors, good camera angles, good dialogue, and nice music, effective music, I would say very much check this movie out. With all these things being said, also this film is like a dream almost, but at the same time it's not like a dream. Yeah, I'm serious. It's a dream, but it feels like a dream. It also doesn't feel like a dream. It feels like it's something extremely bizarre, but then it feels quite mundane. And why that is, I'm not going to very much get into that. I just hope that once you watch the film, you kind of figure out how this film really works well on contradictions within the film. There's so many of them, and it's really good. Okay, so I'm going to say right now, I'm going to get into spoiler from here on. So for people who haven't seen the film yet, I suggest you stop right now and you check the movie out. And if you liked what you've heard so far, and it seems it's the kind of movie that you would like, go ahead. I don't think you'll be disappointed if the things that I mentioned before are important to you. So yes, okay, I'll do 1, 2, 3, pause, Okay, so for all you people who don't want spoilers, I hope you're gone by now, and now let's talk about, the spoiler and the ending. So yeah, the ending, when the officer it realizes that Rowan Morrison is not really missing, that it was all a hoax to get him there, and he's basically he's the one being sacrificed. It's just so you feel bad for him, because his whole motivation was to rescue the missing girl, and then he's being the victim of the sacrifice. And when he's brought when his expression on his face is met, or I should say, when he sees the Wicker Man, the structure, the Wicker Man, and you see the horror, the fear, the anxiety overwhelming him, the panic, it's just, to me, it's haunting, because you see shock and fear and the feeling of he cannot do anything about it, and then there's that part he says, "Oh my God," and that to me is just really, really, I don't know what the word is. It's like a mixture of sad and scary, because a lot of horror films have victims that are not, they don't deserve to be victims, but sometimes they just are either very and they kind of mess with the spirits, or the ghosts, and then they kind of get taught respect. But in this case, it's just you feel really bad for the character, for the officer, and it's really sad. This is the kind of movie that I don't think, I was gonna, I'm not gonna watch again just because the ending is so sad and scary. Now, there's another movie, a remake, with Nicolas Cage, which was made in 2006. Yeah, it's a good film too. Although, interestingly enough, I couldn't carry on with the film. I mean, I got as far as the part in the Nicolas Cage one where he goes to the like bar or maybe like I don't know what you call them, like when you to the restaurant and he tells the lady he has a bee allergy. I got about to that point because I started getting really creeped out, and then on YouTube I think I did watch the scene where he gets sacrificed somehow. I don't know why the Nicolas Cage one was creeping me out so much that I had to stop halfway through. I think it's because the previous one was already so morbid and dark and shocking that I maybe was really not ready for the Nicolas Cage one. Um, yeah, this is one of those films here that I probably wouldn't watch again. As I said, it's a good film. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the endings to me. It's a bit too much. So let's talk about the masks. I think the masks in this movie are downright creepy and also I would say they're inspiring. If you're into visual art, puppetry or sculpting or visual arts, that kind of thing, I would say that this film, the masks are really, they make you want to make a mask, a scary mask, and it's funny because those masks kind of could have easily been used maybe like in a kind of film that is sort of for children or maybe a comedy. But at the same time, I don't know. There's masks. Like some people always find masks scary, and some people always find masks funny. Um, I think there's some people that just kind of find them both, especially if people have background in theater. I did have a background in theater. I mean, I was very much into theater acting and what you call it, stunts, theater stunts and Shakespeare when I was younger. And we did do study of masks, and I remember there were some students in class that just were getting really creeped out. And I know that some adults just can't deal with masks either. They can't wear them. They get spooked out by them, and there's all these kind of allegorical reasons for that some people believe. I just feel that masks are basically like clowns. Some people love them and find them amusing, and some people are scared of them. And I think masks are the same thing. And I think it really comes down to the whole theatrical thing, or, performing arts kind of thing. Clowns, mimes, masks. It's all the kind of same thing. And it's funny how masks, and clowns are used in horror films a lot as villains or as elements to make the audience fear the movie, or at least the clown or the mask. Interesting that the mimes are not. In other films that we're going to be reviewing here, there's going to be a lot of films that have a theatrical component to them, especially films that are, in the avant-garde or very much into surrealism, art house, and that's good to mix these things together because, acting started with theater and then, it went to television and film, and it's important to really realize these things. And again, in this channel, I kind of want to have a particular way of having people look at these films. These films are often confused, art house films, surreal cinema, avant-garde, horror sometimes, midnight films, cult films are often viewed as the films for the few, for the people who have a particular kind of looking at life or viewing life or thinking about life. But I don't want anybody to think that way. I think these films are great and they should be appreciated more. And I feel the reason they're not appreciated more is because people are just not aware about them. The awareness is not there. There are many misconceptions about these films, and I think these films should become more popular and more awareness. But here comes the thing about making these films more popular. Then they would lose the kind of charm of, kind of looking for them, the hidden films. So, there's a big debate. Although I do feel that if you are not necessarily into art or into things, in museums, I still think you should check these movies out, because who knows, maybe you have that hidden interest in you that you love art, you love things based on theater, you love museum type sculpture, German expressionism, heavily surreal movies. Maybe there's a part of you that you've never really explored, and you should check films like these out. And often you say, the weird side of YouTube. And the weird side of YouTube doesn't always have to be bad weird. It can sometimes be good weird. Just like there's a lot of things on YouTube that are not part of the weird YouTube, but they're very, very disturbing and disconcerting. For example, such things such as cyberbullying, filming people and humiliating them. I don't know if that's considered the weird side of YouTube, but to me it's definitely the bad side of YouTube, where people display, cruel behavior. And these films, yes, a lot of these films are scary, but then again, they're films. And oftentimes in films, you realize that, wow, good thing we don't have to deal with things like that, or good thing, I had, pangs of conscience, and now that I watch this film, I don't have to worry about it, especially with a film where, there's like a beast or a ghost or, someone who does bad things, alright? So, let me know what you thought, comment, and I hope you liked the review, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.